What's up, Spellslingers? My name is Garion John Wells.
I'm Drew Flitton.
And I'm Cory Janibagian.
And this is Untap
Upkeep.
Drink.
Beer up. What's up, everybody? We are talking today about the most ridiculous
set that's not a set.
It's not out yet.
Yeah.
All the spoilers aren't out yet.
So this is more of an opinion piece than it is a review, really. I mean, we'll probably get to touching on review style, but it's not completely finished by the time that we are releasing these episodes. So.
If it's not released by the time that you guys are hearing this, then I guess, good game, Watsy.
We're talking about the Mystery Booster
set.
Which
is weird because the Mystery Boosters were a Magic Fest exclusive that was not actually an exclusive, but there were cards that are not in Mystery Boosters that were in Mystery Boosters.
So the way we're going to structure this episode is we've each written down our top fives. Now, not all of the cards have been spoiled, but we've got a pretty good idea of what's in this set. And there's some duds. There's some really good shit. And we're going to talk about what really strikes our fancy. But first, I want to tell you guys about this wonderful survey that we've got going on. So we wanted to get some feedback from our actual fan base, which is why we're kind of pushing this on Spotify and Google Play and all the podcasting apps more than we are on just, Twitter and Instagram, because this is where we get the most engagement. We want you guys to check out the link in the bio. It's only 10 questions, pretty quick survey, but we want to know from your perspective, where should we take this show? And that's really what it is. It's about the structure of the show, the content of the show, what you like, what you don't like. Obviously, we get positive comments somewhat often, and I think people are a little bit less likely to give negative comments. So not necessarily we don't want you to come and give negative comments, but be constructively criticize what's going on and let us know what you want to see from us.
Yeah, it's just we're trying really hard, especially in the next coming months, to push our YouTube and grow as a channel and as a community, and you guys are part of that. So we want to hear your guys' opinions and your voices, and you do matter. We will take in everything that you say in consideration and grow with you guys.
So before we get into the episode, Drew, we've got a few brews going on here.
I have selected some fine breweries and their products for us to enjoy. So starting off, we've got the Roadhouse Brewing Mountain Jam Volume 5 Hazy IPA. So this might be somewhat familiar to some of you because this is the next version of the, surprise, Mountain Jam Volume 4 that we had on the podcast. So these guys are out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
I believe that one won Beer of the Show.
I think so. It was a really good one.
I know. It was good.
So Roadhouse Brewing always has their pairings. So this is a hazy India Pale Ale with pineapple and guava, which pairs well with pugilism. Nah, pugilism. It's a little puggle. And pork carnitas. Notes, cloudy, tropical,
all my favorite things.
Dank.
We're talking pineapple and pork carnitas. I'm in. Let's go.
So on the nose, it's tropical as fuck. It's a bit hoppy. When you taste it, it's smooth, it's delicious. It's a hazy IPA. Comes strong with the fruity flavors. Ends on this crisp, bitter note, and then the bitterness kind of develops as it lingers.
I just see Cory swallow with his eyes closed and a face full of bliss.
Oh, yeah. It's everything Drew said. Like, you get the citrus, like pineapple-y notes at the beginning, and then you get the IPA, and then just fades into the guava, and then it just lingers into sweetness. Super good.
This is the better pineapple cart. This is a pineapple cart with funk and with a little hops and bitter. Maybe a little too piney for me, but honestly, it's not bad.
I just like how sweet it is.
Yeah, it's delicious. That is a summer goddamn beer.
Cory, your beer we're saving for last, so Garion, go ahead.
Oh, hell yeah.
Before that, this is a 6.5% ABV, and because it is a hazy, naturally they're like, there are some IBUs, but we're not going to list them.
This one I've got here is the Wind River Out of Order Porter, and it's sitting pretty at 5.5 ABV. IBUs unlisted.
Brewed with Wind River glacier water.
That is got to be a close contender for the best porter I've ever had. Ooh. It doesn't have a ton of that, what I call earthy, mushroomy kind of thing. Like, it's subtle, but it's there. Super round. It's a lot sweeter than a lot of porters we've had. It doesn't have any other flavors, so this isn't a chocolate porter or an oat porter or anything like that, but it does what it wants to do really well.
So these are all, relatively speaking, local beers from Idaho. By that, I mean we've got one from Wyoming, Jackson, one from Wyoming in Pinedale, and one from Montana up in Missoula.
It's incredibly one note. And like it doesn't linger on your tongue, but that one taste is really good. It's really sweet. It's that malty goodness that you'd expect from a porter. And I agree when you said it doesn't have any crazy flavors like chocolate or oats or anything like that. It is incredibly smooth, and I think it might be too smooth. It's kind of got that sort of watered down taste we've had a few times on beers where it's just like comes and goes. Like the flavor just gets you and then it's gone.
So slurping it, mistake. Try and just like have a nice
not
actual
slurpable.
sip. Yeah. It's like sweet and malty. Sweet, malty, gone.
I'd agree with that.
Like it's good, but each sip I take leaves me wanting more, but each next sip doesn't fulfill what I want out of it.
I just think it's too one-dimensional.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I teased this on Instagram a couple weeks ago. During Drew's Brews Week of Brews, this is one that my brother actually brought back from Montana. And he had, an extra 4-pack because he drank a 4-pack there. And he's like, yo, this is good shit. And he showed Cory a picture of it. Cory's like, yo, that looks like good shit. He's like, yo, Drew, this is good shit. And I had it. And I was like, yo, Instagram, this is good shit. So now here we are. Cory.
So this is the coffee cold smoke Scotch ale with coffee. It's 6.5 ABV and 11 IBUs. On the can it says contents beer. So
I can confirm that.
that's good to know. So right on the nose, it smells just like coffee. It looks just like coffee.
Yeah, it's a cold brew in a can.
I do like Scotch ales and I like cold brew coffee. And this is just hitting all the right notes on both of those.
So cold smoke in Montana is what they call just like the super light, fluffy snow because it just looks like smoke from an angle. And so it's just the cold version of it. And oh shit, that is more coffee than I remember off of that snow.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. It's just that super malty goodness and sweetness from the Scotch ale, but then the lingering aftertaste is
So much coffee.
It's just coffee, and not like a super bitter burnt coffee or anything.
No,
It's just
it's
a,
like a
nice
nicely roasted, but like balanced cold brew.
This is way better than the other coffee beer we've had in the past weeks. Exponentially.
Oh yeah,
Fresh coffee, there's subtle bit of sweetness in there that comes from that malt. That's so much better. It's not that like
Acrid.
there's no
ridiculously
burnt.
roasted.
Yeah. That's just like you said, like a sweet cold brew in a Scotch ale. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of that funk that you would get from a Scotch ale normally.
Yeah.
Mostly because it's masked by that coffee stuff, but in a delicious way.
yeah. If you like coffee, you definitely got to come and
Absolutely.
try this beer.
I would say it is passable.
Half marks. Move along.
No, it's actually really good, but we do need to jump to the next hoop here.
So like we said, this is going to be kind of our top 5. This is sort of what we like about
And then
what's coming
we're
up.
going to narrow it down to a top one, Mana Crypt, and we're out. Thanks, guys.
So that was the summary of
This beer
this
was dope.
episode. No, but for real, this quote-unquote set has 100% reprints, and it has some real big bombs. This is a set that has been like thrown together as like the epitome of chaos draft.
I didn't even hear about it. It came about quickly.
Yeah, I think it was spoiled end of October.
Yeah, there's a
or
lot. Like,
announced, and then the full list was spoiled in November because it was at the convention.
and then there was like, honestly, it's kind of just dead air for a while on it. And then it was like, oh yeah, by the way, this is an actual real set that people get to play with.
yeah, you can buy it later in March.
So it's kind of a weird set because it is not a real set, but at the same time, it is being marketed as a set for drafting. And it's kind of like the ultimate chaos draft based on the last, 15 years of Magic.
Yeah.
Like there's cards from, I think all of the cards are in modern frame. So ever since 2010 12?
I don't know. I think when on the website that when they were talking about it, they said that they're updating the frames but keeping the original art.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then they're adding a little planeswalker symbol to denote that it's
Part of the mystery booster.
part of the mystery. Yeah.
Because each one of them keeps the same set symbol from it was originally printed
They
in.
have the same set symbol and the rarity. And so it's like a weird mishmash of current card frames and art and original card frames and art.
Yeah. What I will say before we dive into our favorites here is that statistically we looked through this, and of course we were tempted to sort by price, and you get Mana Crypt at the top. Quickly things taper off into very inexpensive cards. So
I would not say inexpensive. I think that the list goes down to like 20, 15, 10, but like there's a solid grouping of like $10, $15 cards that just go on for a while. And that's
I'm not saying there's not a good amount of them, but still proportionally, the majority of them are 5-cent cards. And that's not bad, because when we're talking about a draft environment, like we said, we want something that's balanced. It can't be everybody grabs a Mana Crypt. But when you're looking at this
that would be chaos draft.
Yeah, but when you're looking at this like
Who draws their Mana Crypt
a
first?
quote
Doesn't
unquote
win.
Well, when you're looking at it like an investment, still be wary that there are some bangers in this and they do look great, but because the set is fucking huge, your likelihood of getting them is still low. So I think it's scary to treat this like a grab bag for money, but it does look like a really dope draft environment. So
Yeah, and they've been like, I wouldn't say sketchy, but they've held back a lot of details for a while.
yeah.
Obviously, we're recording this before the episode or before this set comes out. But as of this recording, they still haven't released the price or like how many each LGSs are going to get. We don't know how available this thing is going to be, honestly.
Yeah.
And if it's even like, it might be too hard to draft. You might only be able to get a couple packs, which just sucks.
Yeah, and if they sell them as a box, it may be too expensive for most people. And if they sell them only as packs, like you said, it could be really hard to get 6 or 8 people together and like do that. So we'll see how that all unfolds, but that's not what this episode's about. Like you said, we're recording a little bit ahead of time to try and get some episodes in the tank. So what we decided to do is pick out some goodies that we're excited about. You guys want to give your number 5?
Honestly, like narrowing it down to a top 5 is extremely
hard.
difficult because there really are so many like just damn good cards.
Yeah, so there are, let me find the number. There are 800 or 1,815 cards in the set, including the 121 foils that, as of this recording, hasn't been spoiled yet. So without that, that's what 1,694 cards in a draft set.
Yes.
When we
It's
normally
insane.
get a quote-unquote set being around 250, we said, is like the average, 240, 260?
Yeah,
Yeah,
ever
between
since they got
240
rid
to
of
270.
the split sets, it's been
Yeah. So
yeah,
we're
they've
talking
bumped it
about
up a little.
a massive set, which ruins your statistics when you're money drafting. That's fine. We know that. But it also means because these are all reprints, there's bound to be some shit that everyone wants to get at.
Yeah, and it just makes the variance so high.
Yeah, but it also made this episode a fucking nightmare because we have to pick 5 that
So-
we like.
I will pick one from my list here that I think is this of course, it's fucking Drew. He's talking about this shit again.
Enchantments.
Surprise. Enchanted Evening.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like that.
that's a
card.
good
3 and a split white blue and another split white blue for enchantment. All permanents are enchantments in addition to their other types. So this is kind of an unassuming card,
Most people don't care. Oh,
but
Uh-huh.
there are some really fun and often very, we'll say, not super table friendly things you can do with that. So with Enchanted Evenings, there's some less than kind combos that you have with it. So Cleansing Meditation, sorcery for 1 white, destroy all enchantments, but it also has Threshold. Instead, destroy all enchantments, then return to play all cards in your graveyard destroyed this way. So you ever wanted to play 3 mana for Jocko Hops?
Yeah, you just blow up everybody's lands except yours.
And every
creatures and
other
artifacts.
Yeah.
thing that they have. And then, yeah, your stuff comes back and you win that game.
Genuine. That's how you quickly lose your best friends. Sounds
Yeah,
brutal.
so that's why I'm at a crossroads, because like Enchanted Evening's awesome,
yeah,
but it gives more people the power
to do
stuff like
shit.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's not talk about that. Let's instead.
I'm just saying that that's not a good reprint. I think that's a good candidate for a reprint, but at the same time, reprinting stuff like that, I wouldn't say they're degenerate cards, because most of the time people aren't going to play land destruction combos and stuff like that.
Right, so let's not talk about Cleansing Meditation. So let's talk about Aura Thief, which, when it's put into a graveyard from play, you gain control of all enchantments. I'm not going to blow your shit up. I'm just going to steal it. It's mine now.
It's called Mana Ramp.
Yeah. Thanks for your stuff.
Thank you, sir.
But yeah, so you kind of see like the line that is going with that. Like, I love enchantments, and if I turn your stuff into enchantments, then I love your enchantments too. So there's so many like weird things you can do with it, but it turns Enchantress into like a bigger powerhouse, because you have to have things for Enchantress to work that are not enchantments, and it just kind of gives that extra step to say it was always Enchantress, and it was always Enchantress. So your lands, enchantments. Your creatures, enchantments. Artifacts.
That card does some work.
Yeah,
Plus,
it's
it's just a cool looking card.
Yeah, yeah, like the fucking art on it is just 10 out of 10.
All right, guys. My fifth on my list is Coat of Arms. It's 5
That was on my list.
colorless. Oh,
There's gonna be a lot of reprints.
Yeah. 5 colorless for an artifact. Each creature gets +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least one creature type with it. Now, if you've ever seen this card in play, it gets wicked
powerhouse.
fucking complicated immediately, but it does some incredible work because it says at least one creature type with it. So when someone has a beast and someone has an elf, as long as it shares both of those types, you get all sorts of benefits from it. And people find all sorts of weird shit that people are playing that fit this.
Oh yeah, most of the time people don't care about creature types unless you're playing a tribal deck, but Coat of Arms makes you look and you're like, oh no, this is a shaman, merfolk, wizard.
Yeah.
Like I can get +4/+4.
Yeah, but it's like, Coat of Arms is dope because it's like a global thing.
Yeah,
right? Like
that's what
everybody
makes
gets
it so crazy.
So it's like, oh nice, you're playing an elf tribal. And I actually just have a random mana dork. So now my thing's +17/+17. So this is fun.
Bummer. Yeah. Coat of Arms is just one of those cards that's played often and can be exploited, but can also just be chaotic and cool. And people are like, oh God, what's happening? So I'm excited to have a little more access to it.
Cory, give us a pick.
So I picked a lot of cards that they're definitely not the most powerful, because it's easy to just say I want Mana Crypt reprinted and I want 10 of them.
And I'd like to get in a $5 draft, please.
Yeah. So I tried to pick cards that are either I think they should be more accessible to people, or cards that just need to be reprinted. And ironically, I put Risk of Study on this, but I just think it needs to be reprinted because it being a blue staple just needed to.
It either needs to be banned or reprinted.
Yeah. And so my next one is Caged Sun.
That was also on my list.
Tight.
And it's just, it might be hard to say that a 6-mana artifact is a staple, but it helps out the colors that need it, because it essentially doubles their mana when they tap for it. And I think that it's not a really broken effect. Obviously, you should kill a Caged Sun on sight, but it just provides a lot of help and support for decks that need it, like red and white.
I'll keep the train going. And that train being artifacts.
Ooh.
That are somewhat
Shitty.
overcosted, but are also
That's my list.
absolutely bangers.
Cory. That's everything.
Eldrazi Monument.
Oh, okay.
So this is one that Cory and I have had many conversations about.
Oh, yeah.
Largely just being the frustration of the cost on it, even though it's been reprinted several times. So Eldrazi Monument, 5 generic mana for an artifact. Creatures you control get +1/+1. And have flying and indestructible.
Oh, God.
At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. If you can't, sacrifice Eldrazi Monument. I see no downside.
Yeah.
There usually is no downside.
So
First and foremost, it's colorless, so you get to choose.
Yeah. So I'm maybe you could say a little bit of a fan of Aristocrats. So
You have a proclivity.
yeah. I've played it a couple times.
Yeah.
And I love free sack outlets. And if you were to look at this and say, hey, you get a sacrifice creature on each of your upkeeps for free. Yo, I'll pay 5 mana for that.
Done.
Now your creatures are indestructible, get +1/+1, and have flying, so you can just dish out the damage.
Sure.
I honestly do not need to say more, but again, Cory kind of hit on the head where colorless is just like the thing that you can throw in any deck, and it just gets better.
Yeah, that's the big thing is like if you're doing Mardu aristocrats or, Rakdos aristocrats. And you have to, aristocrats.
Or
and you
Jund.
have to pay that colored mana to get one of these big Anthem effects. It's hard. You may have to wait an extra turn or two, but this one is just guaranteed. If you've got it in your hand, you're playing it turn 5, you're fucking shit up. It's too good. Well, not too good, but it's good.
Yeah, I think this is up there in token strategies as just a staple, just because it's a really good finisher.
Yeah.
Because you usually have pump effects and just flying and pump effects are just game over.
Eldrazi as like these big, huge horrors, but they do really well with token generation as well.
Yeah, and so I think this is. It's not obviously not on the level of Doubling Season, but I think this goes in a lot of decks at Doubling Season and Primal Vigor and Parallel Lives. I think a lot of those cards go together, and this is just another one.
Yeah, and like reasonably speaking, this is not really a top 5 from my list of cards here, but I think it's one of the more interesting ones that they're reprinting.
Yeah,
So-
that's what a lot of my stuff, because it is really easy. It's like I'm just going to pick the 5 most expensive ones. Like, yeah, these are the best reprints.
Well, going along with that theme, I've also got an artifact, not overly costed, but fits just beautifully with Drew's deck that he's brewing here.
Yeah, and to be fair, the overcosted is like for Anthem effects and things like that. Like,
Yeah.
and Anthem, Gaia's Anthem, any of the like Black Sun, like literally 2 mana cards that just pump your team. And this is 5 mana, granted colorless and does other things, but it feels comparatively overcosted.
Yeah, and if you want to slip another beautiful colorless artifact in there, we've got Ashnod's Altar.
Sorry.
Sacrifice a creature, add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool. The dudes, I wouldn't say it's too expensive.
No, that's actually exactly where I want that.
Yeah, it's affordable, but it's just one of those ones that I feel like because there's so many different strategies that just want it in the deck that you can't have enough of them. I think a reprint of it is just always going to be a good thing. And I think a draft set with this in it is just exciting because you can draft it into your pool and go, well, I didn't really have what I wanted, but this is going to help out. It's just always useful. I don't know. Ashnod's Altar is tight. It's not the most expensive, but it's just a good card.
You want to blink your opponent's removal and also ramp in the same like one-off effect?
Yeah.
Cory, we got a number 3.5.
So my next one is Herald's Horn.
Oh yeah, nice.
And it's just tribal support. It's a 3 mana artifact. And when it enters, you choose a tribe, and creature spells of that tribe cost 1 less. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you look at the top card and you can reveal it. And if it shares a type with the tribe that you chose, you can reveal it, put it in your hand, and then draw another card. So it's card draw, ramp, colorless for tribes. And the one thing I like, it's all of those.
Yeah.
So this was reprinted in the tribal decks in 2017 Commander decks. And I think people saw this like not as a commander staple, but it's a tribal staple. And if there's one thing people love making in Commander, it's tribal decks. And
Guilty.
That's like the only place that they shine, at least nowadays. And then I think just like this card immediately went to everyone has one to I can't get one because they're $15 each.
Has it really gone up that?
Yeah, for a 3 mana artifact. And if I want to make a bad tribe, I need as much help as I can. I can
especially
get.
colorless stuff.
Yeah, and so you need artifacts like this just to help
And
out those decks.
it's not a back-breaking effect. It's not some unbeatable thing that you drop out. It's just like you said, like a solid support for anything you want to build.
Yeah, it's just really good.
Yeah,
It's just
which is why it's expensive.
Yeah, it's just a very
everybody
versatile
wants it.
card. And yeah, I think one problem, especially I think we're all guilty of, is just like we just keep making more and more decks. And it's just like I could have a goblin deck, and then I could have an elf deck, and then I could have a merfolk deck, and I have all these decks. So I need one for each of them because
as soon as you reach
really
that
is a
critical
staple.
mass of creatures of the same type, you're like, well, this is a good card now.
Like I think it's just it goes in so many decks, and it was criminally underprinted.
So talking about 3 mana, $15 cards.
I mean, I don't know about $15.
3 mana, $15.
I know 3 mana, $50 cards.
I mean, that's you. It's one of the cards that I've been wanting to build around for a long time. It might be 3 colors. Little teamer action.
Is it Animar?
It would be, in fact, Animar. Yeah, Animar Soul of Elements is a deck I've been wanting to build for a long time, but I've been wanting to build 4-color Animar, which everyone's like, what? That doesn't make sense. But if you add black to Animar, it actually just throws a decent amount of good cards that you want in that deck to just enjoy and go crazy with. But Animar has been like $20 for a while now.
Yeah, I think he reprinted a master set, but that didn't really tank his price at all.
Reprinted in 20 Masters 25.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And one of his copies went up, one went down, and then they kind of both leveled out. And now he's getting reprinted again, and so now he's back down to $15 instead of 20, 25, which is great because we need as many copies as we can because it's not really affordable. So Animar is Teamer, like I said, which is blue, red, green. For legendary creature elemental, protection from white and black. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Animar Soul of Elements. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each +1/+1 counter on Animar. He's a 1/1. So the strat is just Animorphs, but I want to do 4-color Animorphs because I think that some of the black morphs, like blue, black, and just black, are different enough that it makes the deck feel more fun to me.
Who's your 4-color commander?
That would be some partner commanders.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
You could do Yidris.
Good, but it's not really what I want to do.
Okay, this is not the most expensive card. This is not the most expensive card. But this guy has a near and dear spot in my
Have you ever actually played it?
Horrible. Yeah, he's in my fucking Muldrotha deck.
Have you ever actually played it?
Yeah.
Not how it was meant to be played.
That's the
true.
Gitrog.
And I'm glad.
Yeah, Gitrog's broken.
He is so
He's
good.
brutal.
It's 3 black and a green for a 6/6 legendary creature frog horror. He has Death Touch, which sometimes comes into play. And it says at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice the Gitrog monster unless you sacrifice a land. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Love that. Whenever 1 or more land cards is put into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card.
This would be really good in like maybe like a strip mine deck.
Yeah, this guy is really good in a lot of decks, actually. I think there are multiple builds where he just slots right in. But the Golgari just recursion deck, obviously, is where he just shines. I think there's a lot of places for this guy to go. He's up to $10 right now, just standard, which
Bottom
he's
one is
not.
at 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think I bought him at 6, which is pretty good, but still, it's not cheap. I think he deserves a reprint, and he's just fucking good at what he does. Anytime you say the name of a card and everybody around you goes, fuck, that's when you know it's like,
That's my next card.
that's the card, yeah. It's the Gitrog monster. That's my guy.
Oh, yeah. He is super good.
Have an idea what Cory's next card is then.
It's an artifact, and people say, fuck.
Nope. It is an instant.
Oh, fuck.
It is a white staple
It is annoying.
that is unfortunately
$60?
prohibitively expensive, but it's still a staple.
Is it Tef Pro?
If you have white, you have to run this card. It
I
is
can't afford.
Teferi's Protection.
So I could sell mine from my Markov deck and buy a new deck.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Should've sold it earlier.
This card, I think everybody knows what it does. You just phase out.
Yep.
It's stupid good. It will a lot of the times either win you the game or help you not lose the game immediately.
Honestly, the
And-
fact that it's like, okay, so the comparison that I always have with Teferi's Protection is Cyclonic Rift, right? Because it has a very similar thing. But the difference being, of course, is that Teferi's Protection is always going to be 2 and white. Whereas in order for Cyclonic Rift to really do what it does, you have to have the overload cost, right?
Yeah.
And so the difference there is massive. Cyclonic Rift can help you set up to win the game. But a lot of the time it is kind of played as a I don't lose the game. Whereas Teferi's Protection is, generally speaking, played as just the I'm not losing the game. But that mana cost is just so significantly different in the way that you have to set up your turn. Because Cyclonic Rift, you do have to save up and you do have to hold on to that when you think you're going to, like, somebody else is going to go off. Teferi's Protection is like you can have a normal turn and still be able to save your ass.
Yeah, you just got to keep 3 mana up. I can't tell you how many times I've played with Sean, Jockalop's blown up everybody lands, and then Teferi's Protection was like, well, shit. I had a chance, but Sean just won this game.
I'm pretty sure that I've told this story before on our podcast, but I was playing against Sean and Terrence, and I blew up the whole board. Both of them had a fucking Teferi's. I killed only my own shit. I was so
Garion's
pissed.
really good at just only
killing myself. I was like, what is happening?
To be
It
fair,
was awful.
the one time, literally the only time that I've played my Teferi's Protection was when somebody Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah, I mean,
And when you gotta do it.
I think that is the reason why it was printed, because everyone's like, Cyclonic Rift is ruining the format. It's the boogeyman. It's like, we'll print you a better card.
But like, it felt so good because I mean, there's literally no card that I hate more than Cyclonic Rift, and it's not
a boogeyman.
It's not because like I think that it's unfair or unbalanced. Like I honestly think that Cyclonic Rift is a totally fine card. It's a card that I refuse to play because of what it does to games and because of what people's reactions to it are. But like playing Teferi's Protection after Cyclonic Rift is played feels so good. Like it's just like no.
Yeah, so this is one of those cards that was like, I don't want to see everybody playing this, but if it's either the best decks have it and nobody else gets to have it,
Exactly.
then I think we should just give it to as many people as possible.
That's the problem, is that people feel like they need it, and it's $40.
Yeah.
And that's just too much.
And so I think
Thing is though is
prevent
that like for a card that was printed in a commander deck, it's also played in Highlander scenes. It's also played in Legacy.
It's a staple.
that good.
It's insane. Like I was watching a Highlander tournament on Twitch, and it was ridiculous the fact that somebody was running Teferi's Protection, because I always kind of viewed it as just a commander staple,
a cheeky commander card,
right?
But
And
it's not.
It was so good because it was like you know those games where it comes down to like one person just has to swing out and they have the game. Boop. You just swung out with everything. Your defenses are open. I kill you.
Yeah, or even like CH is like, I'm gonna make infinite mana and mill everybody for infinite. It's like,
Not today.
nah,
didn't exist this
I'm gonna
turn.
win on my turn, and you won't be able to do anything.
Yeah, like obviously it is a spell. You can do things in response.
Yeah,
The best option to stop Teferi's Protection costs 2 mana.
Counter spell.
Blue.
yeah. So
Good shit.
it's just, I think Wizards knew what they were doing when they printed this card. And I think they
I still
dropped
don't
the
know
ball on only printing it in, was it one deck? It was the Markov deck, right?
Yep.
And making it white.
I think making it white is correct.
I mean, white needs help, but if they made it colorless and put it in every deck, I think that would have been better.
No,
I don't know how it would have worked.
I do not want
But-
that many copies of Teferi's Protection.
But that's what, I mean, it's a white staple. That's what we just said. So I think if
Yeah.
you're running white, then you need it. So
yeah, but imagine every single deck having a Teferi's Protection.
that's what every deck wants. And that
Agreed, but I
people
don't
if
think that
even
it's-
if that's the one white spell you run, that's the one you have because it's that good.
Agreed, but I still don't think that it's healthy. Like if there's
Oh,
a card
yeah.
that's that powerful, that just being like it is an auto include in white, and that's something that I really want to see less of. I think the auto includes are parasitic in a game
Yeah,
like Magic.
they kind of stagnate it a lot.
So having something like that is not something that I want to see in colorless, because there are so many good colorless spells realistically that kind of lean on auto includes, that the more of those we have, the less interesting decks and games are. And this is like a weird tangent that we're just continuing off of, but like this is a real card that's being reprinted. And granted, it's one of 1,800 cards, and it's a rare. It is being printed at rare, so it's not going to show up very often. But more copies is both good and bad. And I think that's kind of where we boil this down to.
Yeah, it just goes on that list, and
Love it or hate it.
it's happening. And
It's there.
I don't know. I think if they made it white, it would have been so much better.
I think double white,
Because that would have been like, white needs his help. We're going to give it to white.
but we're
if
going
you're
to
not running
cost something.
a lot of white, you can't have this powerful protection
Yeah, because
spell.
the fact that it can be run in Mardu vampires
You can run it in decks
Consistently.
that don't even have white. As long as you have a mana rock or a land that taps for any
Yeah.
color, you can still run it.
You're still hitting it.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a dive in these
Yeah, 'cause
beers and we'll
Fairy
revisit.
Spectrum was a big one.
Yeah,
I
I mean-
knew we would have a conversation on it.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about it's like, oh, you have this on your list. I won't put it on my list because we knew we were going to talk about a lot of these cards.
Yeah, I actually had to delete 2 off my list because for whatever reason, you guys just didn't
We all
have any
good card choice.
respect for my list. Instead,
didn't see your list,
respect
to be fair.
my beer choices.
I hope you guys don't steal my number one.
Is your number one the Roadhouse Mountain Jam Volume 5 Hazy IPA at
No, it's not.
6.5?
If you could get Watsy to print that as an artifact, I'd buy it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, that's such a fucking name. Dude, I love every single time. This is honestly, like, I think my second favorite name next to the Goose Island Bourbon County Brand Stout. Because every single time I read it, I want to just read the whole thing. And it's just fun to, like, just go off with.
Oh, yeah, it's 100% flavor.
Yeah. I mean, it is literally 100% flavor. It's delicious. I'm 100% a fan of the tropical flavors, like pineapple, guava, hops, like the floral but fruity bouquet that hops brings. It has all of that. It has a little bit of that hop bitterness, but it's not like enough to just like grind your teeth down. It's like, it's great. Like,
Yeah.
I fucking love this beer.
A lot of IPAs and these style of beers, they have these fruity flavors, but they're just sort of one note and just one dimensional. They come and go, and they sort of seem like they're just additives. Well, this
It is what the
actually
flavor is.
tastes like pineapple and guava in beer, not just separate flavors. They all mix well together.
Well, I think the Roadhouse is really, 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 really delicious.
That was 4 reallys.
Second go around after having these
How you know
sweeter
we're
beers, it is still pretty bitter and it'll linger for a bit, but it's sweet and fruity and citrusy and fresh. So, I mean, if you're an IPA guy, it's perfect. If you're a fruity guy, have that by itself. Don't go to sweeter beers, and you'll really appreciate it.
You should definitely go to Jackson Hole and drink this because Jackson Hole is just
I
beautiful.
mean, Jackson Hole's dope. Yeah.
Yeah. Roadhouse, you done the game.
Congrats.
We should take a road trip. Go back
Road
to
trip
Jackson.
to Roadhouse?
To Jackson
Just
Hole?
yeah,
Fuck
just go see the teats.
Them teats.
Nope.
All right, so we've got the Wind River Out of Order Porter. That's the one I'm
It's
drinking.
a great name.
Yeah, I honestly,
That is
like,
good.
when I saw that one on the rack, it was just like local beers. And I was like, where the fuck is this out of? I'm like, you know what? I don't care. Because
Pinedale,
out of,
Wyoming.
yeah, Out of Order Porter was just like a fun name to
You
say.
can't not buy it.
Yeah. It was like, as soon as I like read it in my head, I was like, well, that's fun. And then I said it out loud and I was like, yeah, that's really fun.
Oh, yeah. Again, like my descriptor is round. It's like this really, really good, smooth, sweet porter. It doesn't have a ton of chocolate, doesn't have a ton of coffee bitters like a stout would go to usually. It doesn't taste high in alcohol. It's only 5.5%, but it's just malty, sweet. It's kind of subtle. It does, like Cory said before, it does one thing, but it does it really well. I think if you're in the mood for a porter, that'll really, really tickle your fancy.
So this is one of those beers that, like, when I sip on, I don't want to just take small sips. I want to take like a nice
Big old
taste.
gulps. Yeah.
And I don't want to gulp it. I want to have like a long taste, and I just want to let it sit in my mouth for a while to kind of see where the flavor goes.
Not
And-
good for your teeth, by the way.
Yeah.
But
None of this
tastes
shit
great.
is.
Congratulations, you figured that out. But it's like roasty, malty, sweet, and then it's gone.
And then it disappears, which I think sometimes is what you want out of just drinks as a whole. You don't want them to be intrusive on your life.
Yeah, to be fair, there's some beers that I absolutely want to linger forever. And
Yeah, there are
there's
some
one in
that you're
particular
like, I just need this forever.
Land
Right.
shark.
that, I mean, especially, you know, my own favorite beer. I mean, for example, the Goose Island Bourbon County Brand Stout from
The
2017.
Gold standard, as it were.
Like, that's one that lingers for a while, and that's one that, like, has that flavor profile that does develop forever. And
But it
that's
doesn't just linger bitter and it doesn't just linger
No,
hop. It
it
lingers
has-
the whole gambit of
Yeah.
what it gives you.
Exactly. And so that's one that I do want to sit on my tongue for a while. And it does kind of linger there doing its thing. And I love that. But that's not what I want every single time. Like, that's something that's special and that I kind of want to reserve for that kind of thing. But it's not something that I want every single time I have a beer.
Yeah, the complexity of that beer alone is just, it's overwhelming sometimes. And so I was pretty down on this the first get-go, but this porter is really good. And if you don't like porters, you should definitely try this because it is so approachable.
It's simplified. It's porter's simplified.
Yeah, it's just like straight to the point. And like we said, it does not linger at all. It's just good stuff.
It's honestly just sweet. You know what I mean? Which is easy. It's easy.
It's super
That's why I
sessionable.
gravitate towards.
Might be the lowest ABV porter we've had.
Probably.
And last, but certainly not least, the beer that trekked many moons to get here. And by many moons, I mean my brother got it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I literally saw on his Snapchat, I was like, dude, that looks awesome. And he's like, yeah, it's this. And it's like, this doesn't mean anything. I'm never going to have this beer. I never go up to Montana.
Surprise.
And
bitch.
then, whoa. So this is the Kettle House Brewing Company, the Coffee Cold Smoke Scotch Ale with coffee. And oh, man, this one is so good.
Yeah, this is a very definitively Cory brew. Sediment, naturally.
Yeah, it's only gotten more coffee.
Yeah. When I was drinking this one for George Brews, it was one that I didn't want to over describe like I do some of the other ones, just because I knew it was something we were gonna have on the show. But at the same time, I had all of my roommates taste it and yo, what's your opinion? It's like, wow, that is nothing like any other beer that I've had. I've had coffee cream ales, coffee porters, coffee stouts, coffee everything, But this is still unique, and it has that kind of. It's not the most complex for a Scotch ale, but it has those intense malty flavors that do develop with the coffee.
Yeah, it has the best parts of Scotch ale and coffee because, like you said, Drew, what it lacks in the complexity of Scotch ales, it makes up for in the complexity of the coffee bitters and just the development as that goes.
Yeah, and one of the guys that we hang out with, my roommates and I, is a coffee roaster, and
nice.
He
met that guy.
Yeah,
nice guy.
Yeah, he's super cool. And so one of the things
that guy, fuck him.
Oh, come on, be nice to Sean. But one of the things that we want to do is actually work with him on a home brew to get some real coffee flavor into a beer and get his expertise on it to figure out what the best way to do that in a home brew is. And we've picked his brain several times, and he's super down for it. But it's a matter of how we actually go about doing that. And it's going to be awesome to have somebody who actually knows coffee to do so. And I wish he was around when I had that beer, because I think that this is one that for a non beer drinker or a non-craft beer drinker that he would really appreciate.
So it says right on the can, roasty, full-bodied, and clean. I think that's literally a perfect expression because it's coffee and it is beer, but clean, it clears out, it's gone.
Yeah, it doesn't leave that lingering flavor at all.
And it's not acrid, it's not burnt, it's not even, True. I mean, it says full body and roasty, but only the slightest bit. There is no toasty, roasty overtones that are just, that stick out, you know what I mean? It's just a sweet coffee beer.
Yeah, if you've ever had just a nice cup of coffee, this is exactly what it tastes like.
Yeah,
just
just
some
cold.
alcohol.
I do disagree a little bit, just in that the way that cold brews are prepared, it has more of that full-bodied flavor, more full-bodied texture that you get out of a cold brew, and I appreciate that more than just a hot cup of joe.
So moving on to our back half, our back nine. But wait, just a few more seconds before we get into the last half of this episode. I wanted to take a couple seconds to tell you that this episode is sponsored by podcorn.com. You can explore sponsorship opportunities and start monetizing your podcast today by signing up at podcorn.com/podcasters. And I'm telling you guys, this is going to be transformative, not just for you, but also for our podcast. We use this website all the time. We're able to be choosy and find exactly the right brands that we want to sponsor this podcast. Unfortunately, you just can't keep the lights on at a podcast like this without having some sort of monetization, and this is the website to do it. You can pick and choose, you can find the perfect brands, and if you don't find them, you check in the next day, and there's a whole new list of brands who are looking to sponsor podcasts. So check it out at podcorn.com/podcasts. Let's get back to it. What's your second to favorite card from this set?
That's
We're getting down to it.
Yeah. So I've got two on my list that I would put up there.
Well, you only get to pick one.
You guys know what my number one is. Guaranteed. When I say it, you'll be like, oh yeah. So my second top Defense of the Heart.
Hell yeah, I love this card.
Goofy fucking card.
It's mean.
But it's so cool. Hey, you like Flash Hulk? You love this card, I promise you. So it's 3 and a green for an enchantment. Surprise, surprise, I have many enchantments on this list. That is just how I roll. So Defense of the Heart.
At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls 3 or more creatures, you may sacrifice Defense of the Heart. And if you do, search for
library.
2 creatures and put them into play.
Any creatures,
Any
huh?
creatures.
Any creatures.
Oh my
So you get
God.
Elish Norn, Vorinclex. That's what I always got in my Gadgetic deck.
Spoiler alert.
You're a terrible person.
Yeah, or like
That's why you had to rip that fucker apart.
or Shalai and Elish Norn. Like you usually always get Elish Norn, then you get some other stupid thing.
Just
More
lock her
spoilers.
down.
You could even get just like Crater of like it was just easy.
Yeah,
it was down.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit you can do. Like, it literally is just like free Flash Hulk. It literally is just free, hey, it's 4 mana, and somebody's going to have three creatures by the time you actually, like, want anything to happen. It accelerates your game plan so fast. It's an enchantment. I could go on, but I really don't need to, because imagining any 2 creatures out of anyone's deck that they get a tutor for free and then put onto the battlefield.
It's
not
Tooth
even
and
to
Nail,
your
but for
hand.
4 mana
Yeah.
instead of 9.
And you sacrifice it, which means you could get it back.
Yeah, the one thing that I have to say is that if you play this card, people will not play creatures, which sometimes that is way more helpful than tutoring for your best 2 things.
Yeah.
Because it just keeps their boards empty.
It's a win-win every
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, the first time I was like brainstorming with this, it was just at a shop, and we were like looking at commander decks, and we were just like messing around, like, what if we have this? What if we do that? And basically could always play Defense of the Heart when somebody already had 3 creatures out, which means that you just were guaranteed to get it. And the deck that we found that was best was actually imagine this, Golgari Graveyard Synergy deck, where you could pull shit from your graveyard. And then I was like, yo, I like that. I'm going to put it in my Moldrautha deck.
I should put mine in Marin.
Yeah, it's
good.
It's honestly ludicrous when it's good, and when it's bad, your opponents stop playing creatures.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's like
Still very good.
it's an underrated card. It's a sleeper. I've never
Legitimately
seen
is.
anyone play it,
Yeah.
but that might be because it's like $15, $20.
Yeah,
but
like
so it does need a reprint. But at the same time, it's like it's a good card.
it's super cool, and it's like the weird kind of jank that I love, where it's like it's enchantment-based creature tutors to the battlefield.
and it's dependent on your opponent, which almost always sucks. But this is like the most easy criteria to fill ever.
Opponent has 3 creatures. Congratulations, you now have 2 better creatures.
You have your 2 best.
Well, moving on to my card, it's far less impactful. Less impressive in every way. Birds of Paradise, and the white border is the best.
I fucking
1 green
Ninth
for
edition,
a
bro.
0/1 summon mana birds.
I do love the summon mana birds.
Mana Birds is the
Hella
most
good.
OP creature type of all time.
It's so
I want
good.
Mana Tribal.
That'd be so sick. Just like
Basically-
retroactively like type all of the creatures to do that.
This is the best dork. And it says tap to add 1 of any color to your mana pool. Play this ability as an interrupt.
Wait, what is the mana cost on that?
1 green.
For any color. You just tap
For any color. Yeah. So this isn't the most overpowered card. It's not the best card. It's probably the best at what it does. However, somehow it's been reprinted like 12 times. And it's still $8 and it's just a dork. I think as many times as we can reprint this card, we should.
And we should do it again.
And we should do it again and
Once
again.
more. As always.
I think this definitely deserves a reprint. Solid card, not the best card, not the worst card. It's just one of those cards that sits real solidly in my heart, and I'm glad they're giving it another go. Cory, are you ready to reveal your top?
Yes, sir,
Your
I am.
new- Bro,
I want you
know.
to save yours for the last.
What if you
Oh,
steal
God.
mine?
That was exactly why I wanted you to save yours
You
for the last.
selfish bastards.
I just think it would be amusing. Corey been like leading the charge on this one, and then all of a sudden just like can't do it.
Thunder
I mean, yeah,
gone.
I'll save it. I think my card it might be one of the best cards in this
Mana
set.
Crypt.
So
We decided no for Mana Crypt.
No, Mana Crypt's too easy to say, yeah.
So-
yeah, reprint Mana Crypt.
my
100
number
times.
1 is once again an enchantment.
Okay, it's not mine.
It's also just 1 green mana, similar to what Garion's last one was.
Oh, I think I might know what it is.
Corey, could you just throw out a hazard a guess, please?
I think it might be.
a flowery boy.
I think it might be a flowery boy.
Yeah, we got Carpet of Flowers. So this is a card that I've wanted to play for a very long time. Ever since I actually got into enchantments and playing Enchantress.
Yeah.
But turns out it's only legal in 3 formats, which is Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. And it's also been like $30 to $40 usually, right?
Highlander as well.
Yeah,
I guess a Highlander an offshoot.
Yeah, Highlander
it's
I
not
guess
an
isn't
official
sanctioned.
format.
Yeah, that's true.
So originally printed in Urza Saga, this card's always been like $30 to $40. It's always been expensive, and so it's just been something that's prohibitively expensive. And so Carpet Flowers, it's an enchantment at the beginning of each of your main phases. If you haven't added mana with this ability, this turn you may add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of islands target opponent controls. So this has been something that I want to play strictly as like a fuck you to Sean. And just because there's always someone in Commander that has islands, right? It's never going to be a dead card, realistically.
Yeah, you're almost always going to get at least 1 or 2 mana off of it.
And if every turn you get 1 mana of any color, then it's just a solid include.
And at the very, very worst, if no one is running islands, you spent 1 green mana on it. Like, the downside is so minimal compared to the upside.
So it's very hard to interact with, as enchantments are.
It comes down so fast. You get ahead so far.
Yeah. And if I'm
so
playing
far
an
ahead so
Enchantress, then it
fast.
draws me an extra card for 1 mana. Like, there's so many good things about this card that I enjoy that as soon as I saw that it was getting reprinted in this, I was just like, yo, I need one. I need it fast.
All right, my next and final tasty boy
The final countdown.
is
2, 1.
Riss the Redeemed.
Oh, yeah, dude. Reese is fun.
That is a big one, actually.
Yeah, he's a banger. I personally think, the best elf commander. And when me and my mom were looking through her old janky modern deck, she has a very good elf ball. I mean,
Good is relevant.
Kitchen table.
okay, so it's not a good modern deck, nor is it a good deck as a whole, but she has a good pile of cards that will make an incredible elf commander deck. Just sitting in there is Concordant Crossroads. She's just got it just chilling. I was like, Mom, what the fuck is
Spicy
this?
meatball.
She's like, I don't
Leave
know.
that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I was
man.
looking at who's going to command this incredible horde of elves, and I wanted to do Reese, and I realized, oh my God, the dude's $45, $26 now, but I'm pretty sure when I looked it up, it was even more.
Yeah, Reese has been expensive for a while.
Yeah. He's 1 mana, green or white, so it's a split cost for a 1/1 legendary creature elf warrior, 2 and a split cost Selesnya mana. Tap, put a 1/1 green and white elf creature token into play.
Also from the Lorwyn Shadowmoor block, which is one of my surprisingly favorite sets because I keep on finding cards from those blocks that I want to play over and over again.
And then 4 and 2 split cost Selesnya mana. Tap. For each creature token you control, put a token into play that's a copy of that creature.
Busted. Holy shit.
So you're in colors that are good with making tokens and making an incredible amount of mana. This token doubler it gets out of control really fucking quick. All right, Cory, this countdown has been inching its way towards your final pick.
It's definitely not the most exciting card.
Oh, it's Soul Ring.
No.
Oh. Soul Ring is actually getting printed in the set. I don't know if y'all
It's-
saw that. It's cool.
Half as good as Soul Ring.
Oh. Command Tower.
Maybe like a fourth as
Mox
good
Diamond.
as Soul Ring.
Medallions. Rubies.
It's a 2 mana artifact
Swiftfoot Boots.
that goes in every deck.
Swiftfoot
Okay.
Boots. Lightning Greaves.
It helps out.
Lightning Greaves.
It's a mana rock. It is Thought Vessel.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that and I was like, oh, sweet.
2 mana,
Printed.
tap for a colorless.
I don't care about that.
You have no maximum hand size.
I care about that.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, this 2 mana artifact that makes
$10 card.
1 colorless mana
$10
is $10.
I try and put it in every single deck. And
It goes
I was-
in every deck.
I was actually going to buy a shitload of them. And then it went up to $10 instead of the $5 that it was previously when I looked. And I was like, I cannot afford 11 of those.
Yeah, so this is, I think, the card that needs a reprint the most, not because it's the most broken, not because it's crazy, incredible, winny the game, but it just helps out so many decks. Everybody wants this card. Everyone wants it in every deck. I'm not going to say it's as powerful as Soul Ring because almost nothing is as powerful as Soul Ring, but it is comparable in that if you put Soul Ring in a deck, you probably should also put Thought Vessel in a deck just because it helps out so much.
If you put
If you run any mana rocks,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
but just put Thought Vessel should be one of those mana rocks because 2 mana rocks are so much better than 3 and above.
Even though
just any
they
ramp
generate
sources.
colorless,
Yes,
they still make such a massive impact. And the fact that it has that static ability, like the amount of times that I just want that in general.
Yeah,
Like,
you every time that
Reliquary
you have
Tower
it,
or-
you'll always be thankful for it.
Yeah.
You'll never be like, oh man, I have no maximum hand size. What the fuck? I think this is just a
I forgot that one was
staple.
on
I
the
think
list.
it should be reprinted as many times as Soul Ring. Because if they can reprint a banger like Soul Ring, they can throw
But
us a
they
bone and put
only-
Thought Vessel in.
No, never mind. I was going to say that excuse doesn't even matter anymore because they only reprint Soul Ring in Commander,
Yeah.
pre-cons. But I think Thought Vessel is only.
I think the
printed in
last time it was reprinted was the
2015, right?
Is the 2015, and then subsequently the Commander Anthology, which had the
right.
2015 decks.
Yeah, but yeah, like
But other than that, it's just we can't get it anymore.
yeah.
I
it
don't know
is
why. Like
one of
they
those
have
cards-
Arcane Signet, which is better in a lot of ways.
Oh, most yeah.
But-
in fact, color mana.
Yeah.
for 2 mana. What the fuck? Yeah, no. Yeah, I would agree. I think even though Carbon Flower is something I wanted to play forever, Thought
Oh
Vessel
yeah,
is
it's
something
definitely
that I
not the
always
most
want to
powerful
play.
card. It's not like that much, but it's just if Soul Ring costs less than it, and Soul Ring is a much better card,
Right, but Soul Ring's also been printed in every Commander deck.
which is what I
But
think
that's
they
the
should
point.
do.
Yeah, it's that.
I
they
agree.
should
I think
not
it
cost
deserves
more.
being there.
All right, guys. I think that's a pretty good little list. Obviously, there's still, what did we say, 121? 120
121
cards that we don't even know what they are in
Kind
the
of hope
set.
they don't spoil them until people pull them. That'd be cool.
I think that'd make a lot of people mad. I think it'd
Yeah,
be cool
it'd piss
because
me
I don't
off.
know if we're gonna buy any, but
Yeah, when was the last time people didn't know
wouldn't
what the full
affect-
set was until people had the cards?
Yeah, I think that's another one of those predatory things because people are going to look at it and go, what if I hit the jackpot? And then it may not be.
yeah, it's like,
But
oh,
again-
what if all of these things are reprinted? It's like, nah,
If-
we're printing basic lands.
Yeah,
and
if
commons.
that's what they do, though, I mean, that would almost be more intriguing to me than what they have now. You know what I mean? Like, I know this is going to cost a lot, and I know exactly what potentially
Yeah,
I get,
I wish
what
they
I'm more
would
likely
give us
to
just
get.
fucking more information on what the fuck this set is.
Yeah, I
all
don't know
about.
why they're
Yeah.
spacing out. So we're like, we didn't hear anything about it all through December, January.
Yeah.
Into February now. It's like, oh, by the way, this is coming out in March.
Yeah, I think looking at it as just a Chaos Draft set is the right way to do it. Obviously, we'll get some reprints out of it. I don't know if it'll be enough to substantiate the market and like affect prices just because of how things are
Realistically,
rated
it
rarity-wise.
shouldn't be
Yeah.
anything to like impact the
Yeah.
market just because of the massive.
If you think
amount of
people are
cards.
going to
Yeah.
pull enough mana crypts to make it less expensive, you're probably
it's
just
already-
it's already
dreaming.
dropped the price on
yeah,
every
it's
card
sub
that we've named.
$200, which is
Yes,
Still
but that's
very,
only
very expensive.
Speculative drop. I'm talking about a
But-
significant way because there's availability.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
But the fact that it's already impacted the market in the way that it has, like all of the cards that I've named have dropped like realistically about 20% or so, 25%. And
Yeah.
a lot of those cards, that's a significant margin when you think about those cards individually.
Yeah, but
like Animar
speculative
dropping
drops-
to $15 from $20, like I could actually buy an Animar for $15 right now. Whereas before there was any spoilers, any information about this, Animar was a $20 card. Realistically, there's not going to be enough Animars coming out of that set to bring Animar from a $20 card to a $15 card. Yet right now I can do that, right? Like just the speculative cost is enough to bring those cards down.
Right, which is why I think the product is a bust, right? This is a speculative cost. This is an investment beforehand. As soon as this set comes back out, it's all going to go back to where it was because there's not going to be enough to affect that change. This is literally like the stock market going, oh, something's happening at Apple. The stock drops. Well, it's going to go back because Apple's still going to be strong, right? Unless 10,000 mana crypts are pulled, there's not going to be enough to drop that price permanently.
Right.
The speculative cost, I think that's really where players like us are going to take full advantage. If you're looking to buy an Animar, save 25% right now. Buy it. Don't wait for the set. Don't try and pull it in a pack. Buy it now. I think this is it's still just a really weird set. And nobody really knows what to expect from it because
But that's also
of
because we don't know what the fucking cost of it is, right?
yeah,
Like,
well, and nobody's ever drafted from that big of a pool, I don't think. You know what I mean? Like 1,800 cards is a significant change to the statistics that you're looking at, both in how you prepare to play that set or what you want to call it, and how you try to spend your money in there.
Yeah, to be fair, like the biggest pool that I've drafted from was a cube of 1,200.
That's huge.
Yeah, it was way too
It's a
much.
gigantic fucking cube.
Yeah, like realistically, it was like, yo, we're just shuffling together a bunch of cards for literal hours after the previous one went off. And then we're just cherry picking randomly what cards go into it. And it's based on the number of people there were. And then it was like, yo, here the list for this cube. Go for it.
See, that sounds awful, but
No, it was really
how
fun.
much did it cost? $5 to enter?
I think it was like 8.
10? 8? If this set was $8 to enter a draft, I'm fucking in.
$8 to
It's
get
not
3
gonna be.
packs. The difference being,
Yeah.
with this cube, we didn't keep the cards, right?
Right, of
Whereas
course,
this
yeah.
one, you're going to keep the
gonna
cards
keep
and you
your
could
cards.
get some fucking insane, bombs out of it.
Again, I think it's really contingent upon the MSRP or the
There is no MSRP.
secondary resale, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think this might be the answer to everybody's complaining about reprints and commander sets and stuff like that. And like we had awesome bangers in Battle Bond and stuff,
Oh, yeah,
but people were like,
Battle
"I want more,
Bond's
I want more," and so maybe they're just like, "Fucking just have everything." Like we'll disguise it as a chaos draft set. I don't care. Just get all these cards out.
Shut your mouth.
So people can just say, "Oh, this did just get reprinted," even though you might not be able to get a copy. But
never
they're like,
get it.
"No,
Yeah.
it just got reprinted." So I'm not gonna put. We're not putting Teferi's Protection in the new
Demonic
commander
Dude.
sets. We're not putting all of these things in the new commander sets because they
Where's-
just got reprinted.
Where's my JTMS?
Don't worry about them.
That's what's crazy.
That's,
is like,
that's what people are holding out for the foils because they think a lot of modern
yeah.
staples are going
Yeah.
to be there. So if they've already been
Pray,
spoiled at
cross
this
your
point,
fingers.
hell yeah. All these foils look awesome. I can't wait to pull this card.
if not, bummer.
If they're trash, then yeah, that
I think
sounds
that-
like a cash grab.
They're leaving so much hype to the foils that there's no way they're not going to be significant reprints.
That's
right?
why it's weird, but if you just look at a lot of modern lists and a lot of Pioneer has a big impact too, but prices are just tanking, especially because the super hard bannings that they did a couple months ago, I guess a month and a half ago. It's just modern is hurting right now.
Modern is
And a
desperate
lot of
for
people
good
are just
reprints.
waiting for this set to either revitalize it or just
But where's
until the
the
next
second
set.
exist? Right?
that's the thing. I don't
people
know.
were talking about it being
literally
the
is just
Pioneer,
random cards.
like Pioneer Masters, which doesn't make any sense to me based on the cards that are in there. But who the fuck knows what WotC's got in their heads?
Yeah, that's why I
they
think this
have
might just
money.
be like a shotgun approach. It's like let's just cover as much reprint ground as possible. We throw Mana Crypt in there just because people want Mana Crypt, and they will buy the ever living shit out of the set just to pull a Mana Crypt for $6 or whatever how much pack costs.
It certainly appeals to a certain group of Magic players just in general.
Yeah,
So I think they're going to do okay when they sell it. So honestly, I think that's a good wrap up of this entire gigantic, ginormous, incredible set.
There's a lot going on.
I was going to say we could go on for days and days about what could potentially be, but with the limited information that we have as far as how this product is going to be placed and what it's going to cost, this is about all we're comfortable with even talking about right now. It's just what we're excited about. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, listening to us ramble about our favorites in this set, and as we like to say on this podcast,
have fun.
Let us know what your favorite card of the set is.
It's Brittany, bitch.